Good evening, Adab, Salam, Namaskar. I'm Tufail Ahmed, Global President of PLG, and we all are connected to PLG 301, celebrating the legend. And the legend today is Lord Byron or George Gordon Byron. As you all know that this PLG online program we are running for last 5.5 years, more than last 5.5 years, is going to be close to 6 years now, uninterrupted every week, Saturday, 7:30 p.m. Indian time, and you can adjust, you can calculate your own time accordingly. So this is happening for last almost we are 3 months away from 6 years. So we conduct program in different modes, and while our most popular program remains the Kavi, Sammelan, Mushaira, which happens every Saturday, but I think the most important program and most prestigious program of PLG is the Celebrating the Legend. And the reason being that we come to know about our legends. So you all might be knowing, but for those who do not know, the format is that we select a celebrity poet or legend, a famous poet, a poet who is regarded high in the high place, a very high place in literary world. And we select alternately from Urdu, English, and Hindi. And we do this program the third week in every month. So 1 week in every month we do this kind of program. So in this program, we do not recite our own poetry. We recite the poetry of the chosen legend. And the legend this week which we have chosen is the English poet, very, very famous romantic English poet, Byron. I won't tell much about Byron because our anchor, Miss Jati, she is very much here smiling, and she is ready, and she is all prepared to tell you about the life and work of Lord Byron. I call it Lord Byron, but his full name, you know that, his full name. So, you all will recite poetry, and in between, she will be giving some information, some, capsules, which will empower with you with the knowledge about Lord Byron, the chosen poet, the legend this week. So, ladies and gentlemen, let us welcome our very talented young girl. She is herself a poet, and her poetry is, I have listened and I am really fan of her poetry. I regard her as a very, very talented young girl who is going to be very, she is going to earn name and fame in future. I'm sure about that. She is a very good anchor also, and she has won competitions and here in Muscat, Oman, in Indian Embassy. inter-school competition. She has won the first prize. She won, and not once. I think she has won more than once. And later on, she went to her college, schooling in India, a very famous school, Birla Vidya Mandir, and now she is in college. So there also she won many accolades. So she is very much here. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Jyoti Chaudhary as our anchor today, anchor of the day. I'm going to unmute, give the unmute power to everybody. So, Jyoti, you can unmute yourself now. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome her with a big round of applause. Over to you, Jyoti.
Thank you very much, sir. A very good evening to ladies, gentlemen, and our little participants present here today. Thank you very much for joining all of us today here to celebrate one of the most famous, one of the most impactful poets in the history of English literature. Before I begin, it is duty. I would be really failing in my duty if I did not thank this group, this wonderful group of people, which we call PLG, Poetry Literary Group International, for helping us get together every Saturday, every week. And as such as said, 6 years, 300 episodes. This is the 301st episode, not a single interruption. And yet, you would think literature or a literature gathering would mean come, say poems, have appreciation, have reviews, and leave. No. This group is not just a poetry group, it's the closest to your family you can have out of home. The most beautiful family you will have apart from your blood relations. Caring for everyone's feelings, everyone's emotions, doing everything they can for each other. All because they are connected to one thread, that is poetry, that is literature. Thank you, PLG, for everything you have been doing every Saturday, every week, and not just every Saturday. Saturday, the sessions get over. The preparation for another session starts. The entire week, people behind the scenes work so we can come together here. Thank you to everyone who works behind the scenes to make us get together. Thank you very much. Also, before I begin, I would wish to take just a moment, a personal moment. This happens to be 3 days ago. It happened to be the first death anniversary. I wouldn't want to say it that way, but yes, of my maternal grandmother. And I take this opportunity to pay my tribute to her because she is one of those people whom do I owe a huge part of the credit that goes for cultivating my interest in these fields that it's very hard to find it among the generation today. I owe the credit to her, and this is a tribute to her. I dedicate this performance today to her and to everyone, my family, my friends, PLG, everyone, my teachers who have made me whatever I am today, even if it was 1,000th part of the character. Thank you very much. All the appreciation I get or I will get will always be to you. Nothing is my own. Thank you very much. Not taking much time, we today are very open to the idea. I know it takes time for change, but the generation today, in times today, in the 21st century, we are very much open to the idea that a hero cannot be flawless. Everyone has their flaws. No one's perfect. But to accept those flaws is what real humanity means. Well, it wasn't so always. Even today, actually, when someone writes a book, when someone creates a literary character, if it's too perfect, you feel no, that's utopian. That's what you call it. But it wasn't this always. Rewinding to 19th century Victorian England, where English literature found its roots and its revolutions and went on to spread out in the world to here we are today. Heroes were considered to be flawless. No mistakes, no flaws, no spots anywhere, spick and span clean. And then here came a person, or one of many persons, but he happened to be the most impactful in the lot, who told that yes, heroes can have mistakes, but heroism is not defined by what mistake you commit or how perfect you are. Rather, heroism or chivalry is defined by how you handle what you do, how you make up for what you do. This person was Lord Byron. He was among the many people who, or the many literatures of the time, who expounded this idea, which included Arthur Conan Doyle, people like Jane Austen more in the feminine field, but yes, nevertheless, one of the lot. Lord Byron was by far the most impactful of them. Contributing to all of it was his extensive travel and his love for the art of traveling. A truly an artist, traveling the world, writing down travel logs, writing in them in such a way that years later, almost 200 years later, we still love to read them. The man traveled through Venice, Ravenna, Pisa, Genoa, and God knows how many countries. He was also a soldier, a poet, a romantic, a brooding hero. Then again, a hero that broods. Back in 19th century England, when he lived, this was what they call an oxymoron in English, like a deafening silence, words that don't go together but still are together. He was a brooding hero, a defiant individualist who showed that to stand up for one's character is true bravery, and a master of satirical wit, a person who could mock the entire system of authority in a single line, and yet no one would be able to catch him for it. That was Lord Byron. Not taking much of the time from the participants, we would like to go ahead to listen to a wonderful presentation. And I say wonderful long before the presentation because of the characteristics of this presentation. Number one, what we are going to now hear is one of his hugest masterpieces. And the reason I mentioned travel, it's a travelogue, a part of a travelogue of how a poet, a defiant poet, a rebel, views the world in front of him. And turns out this is going to be presented to us by our youngest participant today. We hope you in the future conform to the ideals of this work and rebel against what is not right in society, because that is what every new generation does. Bring about change that takes the old but brings in the new. Not taking much time, I pass the stage to Master Numer, our youngest participant today, from the United Kingdom to recite Childe Harold's Pilgrimage. Over to you.
Hello everyone, my name is Namer bin Ali. I live in the United Kingdom and I go to Highfields Primary School. Today at this great PGL meet, I am going to read a few lines of the poem There is a Pleasure in the Pathless Woods by the famous poet Lord Byron. I hope you enjoy it. There is a pleasure in the pathless woods. There is a rapture on the lonely shore. There is society where none intrudes by the deep sea and music in its roar. I love man, not man the less, but nature more. From these our interviews in which I steal from all I may be or have been before to mingle with the universe and feel what I can never express, yet cannot all conceal. Lord Byron is expressing that he is happy when he is alone in nature. He likes quiet forests and the sea because they make him feel calm and joyful. Nature feels like a kind friend that makes him feel peaceful and free, and he says that loving nature does not mean he loves people any less. Thank you, everyone.
Wow, so beautiful. Well done. Very
You.
nice. God bless you.
A marvelous presentation, Numer. Thank you very much. We are extremely happy, and I truly don't have words to tell you how happy we are to see you here. We hope to see you again and again, not just this once.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, welcome. It's amazing to see how the youngest participant here is reciting one of the greatest poets of the 19th century England. An absolutely wonderful presentation. Thank you, Noel, for setting the tone. Really, couldn't thank you enough. Moving ahead, we look at Byron not just as a poet, but as a soldier and a wanderer who is now forced to leave his native country. Byron, at least on his first travel, did not leave his country on his own will. He was almost forced. Sources say he received threats of lynching. It's horrifying as it is, but he was forced to flee to England. And that is when his travels around the world started. He fled, he stayed in Italy, and surprisingly, he stayed in Italy with another towering literature of the time, Percy Bysshe Shelley, and his wife Mary Shelley. Later, Byron joined the Greek War of Independence to fight the Ottoman Empire. A reason why not just the English, but the Greeks revere him as a folk hero. In England, he's a literary hero. In Greek or Greece, he is a folk hero. To carry forward this sentiment, Byron wrote, "Adieu, adieu, my native shore." Adieu is a marvelously beautiful, serene word for farewell. Not a much used word today, but it conveys a feeling that is not just conveyed by the word farewell or the genuine bye. Adieu is something more emotional, something more deep. To present Adieu, Adieu, My Native Shore by Lord Byron, who, I'm sorry for missing this out, was given the name George Gordon Byron at birth, I invite Ms. Nishka Sharma from China. Do we have her here?
Yes, hello, good evening. Hello, my name is Nishka and I'm 14, and today I'll be reciting Adieu, Adieu, My Native Shore by Lord Byron. I chose this poem because it speaks quietly but powerfully about leaving home, about watching a familiar place fade into the distance while carrying it with you. I've lived in 4 different countries and I love to travel. Each move has meant a goodbye, not just to a place, but to a feeling of belonging. When Byron writes about his native shore disappearing over the blue waters, I understand that moment. The world ahead is exciting, but something personal is always left behind. This is why this poem feels close to me. So here I go. Adieu, adieu, my native shore, fades over the waters blue.
Please,
The night winds sigh.
Nishika, please go a bit slowly because because it will be easy to comprehend for everybody to comprehend. Please go slowly. Read it with enjoyment and slowness. That's the poet. That's why the poetry is there. Please go in a bit slowly. You are quite fast. Please.
All right.
Continue.
All right.
Continue.
Yes. Adieu, adieu, my native shore, fades o'er the waters blue. The night winds sigh, the breakers roar, and shrieks the wild sea mew. Yon sun that sets upon the sea, we follow in his flight. Farewell awhile to him and thee, my native land, good night. A few short hours and he will rise to give the morrow birth. I shall hail the main and skies, but not my mother earth. Deserted is my own good hall, its hearth is desolate. Wild weeds are gathering on the whale, my dog howls at the gate. Thank you.
That's a good one, no doubt. It's better. We enjoyed it.
Very nice.
Very nice, Nishika.
Thank you.
Thank you, Nishka, for the nice recitation. Thank you very much. We look at Byron as a multifaceted personality. He was simultaneously realistic and romantic, rebellious and also loving. According to the situation, his personality underwent changes, which is necessary, good. And Byron showed it to us in much intensity. He flared up with satire and irony. His speech in the parliament on the death penalty in the House of Lords not the Parliament, I'm sorry. In the House of Lords, the speech he gave on the death penalty is something that gave society a profound understanding of its insights and the political insight of the era. Coupled with Percy Bysshe Shelley, one of his best friends, both of them dreamed of social change. Byron had a distinctive style of speaking. Critics of the time said he lacked Wordsworth's philosophical depth, Coleridge's supernatural realms, Shelley's visionary idealism, and yet he stood out, fearless in expressing the contemporary desire to overthrow rules, a rebel in one word. Sources say he was an unstoppable life force. When he entered the room, it felt as though a storm had entered. His poetry embodied suppressed messages of the era, messages that no one dared bring onto paper or onto their mouths. Byron embodied them, and he was immensely popular. He could show you profound melancholy, realism, romance. Byron was also a child prodigy, which I was reminded of by the young participants we have today. He published his first poetry collection called Hours of Idleness when he was simply 19. Not much of an age. And Hours of Idleness has a beauty that is totally beyond words. He focused on themes, love, youth, nostalgia, and an emotional reach that swept the world. And it is still sweeping us today. Evidence, here we are. Moving forward, we invite our next participant, Master Aradhya Singh Bharot from Canada. Do we have him here?
Yeah, he is no doubt. Probably the youngest of all.
Good eventide, respected judges and esteemed peers of the spoken word. I, Aradhya Singh Bharot, stand before thee to render a most wanted lay by the noble Lord George Gordon Byron, entitled When We Two Parted. When we two parted in silence and tears, to sever, half broken-hearted, to sever flares, pale grew thy cheek and cold, cold as thy kiss. Truly that art what told sorrow to this. The dew of the morning sunk chill on my brow. It felt like the warning of what I feel now. Thy vows are all broken and light is thy frame. I hear thy name spoken and share in its shame. They name thee before me, and knelt to mine ear. A shudder comes o'er me, why words thou should dare? They know not I knew thee, who knew thee too well. Long, long shall I rue thee, too deeply to tell. In secret we met, in silence I grieve, that thy heart could forget, best wait to see. If I should meet thee after long years, how should I greet thee? With silence and tears. Thank you.
That was beautiful, no doubt. And you read it very well.
Thank you.
Please keep coming.
Very, very nice.
We want to see you on the stage.
Thank you, Aradhya, for the very beautiful presentation. We seem to have a multitude of young presenters today, and I'm quite sure that is how Byron, as a social rebel, would have wanted it.
And Jyoti,
Moving forward,
that is how your journey also started. You are also so this is a tradition which is continuing.
no doubt. Absolutely, no doubt. I happened to be, I think 12 or 13 years old when I first came to PLG. And PLG
Sure.
used to be in the Indian Social Club hall at that point, physical gatherings. It's the most beautiful thing I can say has happened to me till date. Thank you, PLG, and thank you everyone for everything. I hardly could imagine at that point I would be here today anchoring a CTL, but thank you, PLG, for making this happen. Moving forward, we look at the patriotic side of Byron. George Gordon Byron loved his country, reflected on political and social issues with equal intensity. He hardly ever made direct expressions of his patriotism, rather indirect. in works like The Prisoner of Shalon. Prisoner of Shalon showed his clear social perspective through speeches, through his contempt towards the upper classes, a sentiment that was running through, swaying through the countries at that point. A stark difference in social imagination between his friend Shelley and him came where Shelley dreamt of rebuilding after breaking down. Byron spoke of only destruction and has hardly ever envisioned reconstruction. He plunged into nationalist movements of the time, that is, Italy, Greece, England itself. And yet, he has seen how far, how far destruction could lead you. Rebel always, a romantic always. But the amount of revolutionary fire Byron had in him could hardly ever match anyone else. Byron also created a particular character, rather not a character is for want of a better word. He created a particular genre of a character that still exists and is still loved today and was given his own name, the Byronic hero. The Byronic hero was characterized by a primary trait that was his abhorrence. In simpler words, his hatred, his contempt for authority. Anything that conformed to simple, rigid, laid out rules. Byron believed humanity was free to flow. Whether it flowed in destruction, whether it flowed in reconstruction, it was free. Humanity was a river. Emotions came in like the meanders in the river. Stones were the obstacles. The flow of the river, the dirt in the river, the silt in the river was the human mind when it thought of causing harm to someone else. That was Byron's imagination of life. But as they say, that is the irony. Hardly ever are great minds recognized when they live. And then again, there's another part to it. It's true, and history is replete with examples to show us that if you intend to waste, a whole life is ahead of you. Waste every moment of it, no one's going to stop you. But if you intend to create, if you intend to leave behind, you have every moment, every second is yours to own. Byron showed us that. Byron lived for hardly 36 years. 36 years to a person who does not intend to make anything of himself is absolutely nothing. But to Byron, he created everything he could. He poured his life and soul into his work in those very 36 years. It's just 3.5 decades. But Byron created what the world never forgot. Moving forward, we go to the country where lie the origins of this beautiful family we are all part of. We go to Oman to another young prodigy, a multitude of young presenters today, and it's only beautiful to think of. We go to Oman, we bring before you Master Nevedya. Nevedya, do we have you on stage?
He's there.
Thank you, Jayati Didi. I am about to recite the poem She Walks in Beauty by Lord Byron. The poem was written in 1814 and the poem has inspired various composers over time, including Roger Quilter, Gerald Finzi, Toby Hessian, Ivy Francis Klein, Jean Coulthard, Isaac Nathan, Nicholas Flagello, Michael Dana, and Sally Whitewell. The British musical ensemble Medieval Babies sing the complete poem on their 2015 album, The Huntress. She walks in beauty like the night of cloudless climes and starry skies, and all that's best of dark and bright meet in her aspect and her eyes, thus mellowed to that tender light which heaven to gaudy day denies. One shade the more, one ray the less, had half impaired the nameless grace, which waves in every raven raise, or softly lightens o'er her face, where thoughts serenely sweet express, how pure, how dear their dwelling place. And so on that cheek and over that brow, so soft, so calm, yet eloquent, the smiles that win, the tints that glow, but tell of days in goodness spent, a mind at peace with all below, a heart whose love is innocent. Thank you.
That was very beautifully read and with a very poise. So thank you, Navedya. It was
Very
you did
nice.
it very
Very
well.
nice.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Naivedya, for captivating us, not just with the poetry itself, but with your introduction of it. A
Yeah,
good
sure.
start, they say, is indicating of a good presentation, and you did absolutely that. Thank you, Naivedya. Thank you very much. She Walks in Beauty, which was just narrated by Naivedya, is a compilation of the quintessential romantic ideals of the time. That is emotional intensity, individualism, and a profound engagement with the nature and sublime supernatural powers. Romanticism or romance was seen as something larger than life, something almost godly to attain. This sentiment of Byron, especially the love for nature, is echoed in one of his masterpieces alongside Child Heralds, which was read by our first participant. The other masterpiece was called the poem Don Juan. In Don Juan, he evoked a sense of spirituality. Don Juan is by far his most famous piece till date, almost synonymous with his name. In Don Juan, he wrote, "My altars, an altar is a place where you worship, the most sacred of places. My altars are the mountains and the ocean, earth, air, stars, all that spring from the great whole, who hath produced and will receive the soul." To Byron, the Almighty's greatest creation was this nature we live in, was how we perceive nature and how we live out our lives every day we live, every day we work. Moving forward, we call upon our next participant from the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, Miss Alokita, another one of this multitude. Do we have you here, Alokita?
Yeah, she's there.
Lord Byron was a British romantic poet and satirist, whose poetry and personality captured the imagination of Europe, making him one of the first great literary celebrities. His poem, There Be None of Beauty's Daughter, celebrates the quiet power of natural beauty. In the poem, he compares a beautiful person with calm natural scenes, like the moon shining at night and quiet waves at sea. He shows that true beauty is peaceful, soft, and kind. It makes us feel calm and happy, not loud or proud. There be none of beauty's daughter with magic like thee, or like music on the waters. Is thy sweet voice to me, when as if its sound were causing the charmed ocean pausing. The waves lie still and gleaming, and the lulled winds seem dreaming. And the midnight moon is weaving her bright chain o'er the deep, whose breast is gently heaving as an infant's asleep. So the spirit bows before thee to listen and adore thee with a full but soft emotion, like the swell of summer's ocean. Thank you.
Beautiful. And more beautiful was the explanation which you gave. Very good, Alukita. You recited it very well.
Very nice. Very nice.
Thank you, Alokita, for this rendition. Lord Byron was often and has often been written off as a poet of contradictions. His poetry, like his life itself, is marked by contradictions. A romantic who admired the neoclassical poets, an aristocrat who championed liberty, which is very rare. An aristocrat of the time, why of the time, even today? You expect them to live their lives like they own everything, to not care of those who are lower down the level. Yet he was an aristocrat who championed the liberty of people, who championed rights of humans, even though human rights was not a household term then. He was a celebrity, yet he sought solitude. You would think it diminished his work, the contradictions in his character. It never did. Byron made his contradictions add to the richness and the complexity of his work. To him, everything, life itself, was a paradox, and he embodied the paradox and the constant flux of challenges in human life in what he created, the Byronic hero. Byron, no matter how many aspects of personality he had, was a wanderer at heart. Most poets are, but Byron was always a class apart. His creative world has people of so many countries. He traveled to Spain, Malta, Greece, Albania, Rome, Venice, Florence, Constantinople, Russia, Italy, Greece, and England itself. Never-ending travels only and only contributed to the diversity of his work, of his willpower to show people across borders, people across countries are still human. They have the same feelings, the same Almighty who created them. Moving forward, we call upon Ms. Sannidhi from Tanzania to present to us the next piece.
Hello, my name is Sanidhi, and today I'll be reciting the poem So Will Go No More a Roving. It was written in 1817 but was published in 1830. The poem has inspired numerous musical adaptations, most notably a famous art song by Ralph Vaughan Williams, as well as references in literature and popular culture, where its themes of youth, weariness, love, and the end of reckless wandering continue to resonate. So will go no more a roving, so late into the night, though the heart be still as loving, and the moon be still as bright. For the sword outwears its sheath, and the soul wears out the breast. And the heart must pause to breathe, and love itself have rest. Though the night was made for loving, and the day returns too soon, yet will go no more a roving by the light of the moon. Thank you.
Sanidhi, that was a very, really nice poem and beautifully rendered. Thank you.
Very nice.
Thank you, Sannidhi, for yet another beautiful rendition. One quite unknown, not necessarily unknown, but hidden, or rather, at some point, unbelievable aspect of Lord Byron is who he was related to. It's amazing how life comes full circle. A little while ago, I was just commended by Anupam sir that yes, indeed, things do come full circle. I once came here at the age of 12, and here I am inviting young kids. So yes, life comes full circle. The medium that we are using today, the computer, it was invented by what most know is Charles Babbage. But little do people know, and the information I have regarding this is credited to my mother. Charles Babbage, at that point in the Victorian era, was assisted by a lady. Not even a lady, a young woman, in fact, called Lady Ada Lovelace. Conforming to the rather patriarchal society of the time, and not just that time, it's prevalent even today. Lady Ada Lovelace is much lesser known in comparison to Charles Babbage. But yes, the medium we use today was contributed to greatly by Lady Ada Lovelace. And surprisingly, she was Lord Byron's daughter. Father to a great prodigy, a woman who stood up at a time when even Queen Victoria herself was mocked as a queen of the little queen because of her height and because of her gender, of course. Lady Ada Lovelace did something that survives to this day, and this is exactly why we are able to see each other. She was Lord Byron's daughter again. Moving forward with this snippet of information, may I call upon Geeta Sethji from Indonesia, welcoming you to the stage.
Ma'am, your voice.
Sorry,
Yeah,
sorry.
that's
Good
that.
evening, everyone. And what the way you are carrying this program, Miss Chaudhary, I must congratulate you. You are speaking so well, and for Lord Byron, what not you don't know. You know everything about him. In fact, today's evening should be on Lord Byron, a great speech on him, an essay on him. You have a captivating personality and you are making the program go on. I'm so interested to listen the way you're speaking about him. More than that, I'm influenced by your good personality.
Thank you. Thank you.
So, friends, Lord Byron, it's nice to know him. I'm reading the poem, The Prisoner of Chillon. Do you know his personality? Although he lived a very small age, 3.5 decades and 1 year plus. So his age was 36 when he died. He was born with a club foot. Club foot is what? His right leg was smaller. And because of it, there was a gait problem. He cannot walk. So poor thing, he grew with shame. There was shame of walking and hiding the way he walks. It played emotionally very much on him. Because of that, he got more interested to be a famous man, and maybe because of his habit, he was sitting and reading all the time, and he became a great poet. In fact, he was a very strong swimmer also. He had done some very good work. So his personality, I would say, was rebellious, romantic. He was known for his mad and bad personality. Why? Because nobody would be around him, but he was like a very heroic man. He had many affairs. He looked handsome, and he was very romantic. So all this made him a very interesting personality. Though he lived a short life, but it was a great life. So I would like to read this poem, The Prisoner of Chillon. My hair is grey, but not with years, nor grew it white in a single night. As men's have grown from sudden fears, my limbs are bowed, though not with toil, but rusted with a wild repose, for they have been a dungeon's spoil, and mine has been the fate of those to whom the goodly earth and air, and banned and barred forbidden fare. But this was for my father's faith. I suffered chains and courted death. That father perished at the stake. For tenets he would not forsake. And for the same, his lineal race in darkness found a dwelling place. We were 7, who now are 1, 6 in youth and 1 in age, finished as they had begun, proud of persecution's rage, 1 in fire and 2 in field, their belief with blood have sealed, dying as their father died, for the God their fuse denied. 3 were in a dungeon's cast, of whom this wreck is left the last. What a beautiful poem. I'm happy to know
Really.
him as a poet. I'm happy to know him as a poet. Had Simiji not invited me, I would have not known about it. And it's really nice to know that what kind of poets and personalities we have. See, ultimately, we are the upcoming poets, so we should learn from them. No doubt.
That is the
Thank you so
objective
much.
of
Beautiful,
PLG, no
beautiful.
doubt.
Most welcome, Gita ji.
And
Thank you.
the information which you shared, it was really nice. It was interesting, no doubt. And the way you were reading, okay, you were immersed in the words. So it was really nice to hear from you. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. And Miss Chaudhary, please continue to be same as
Oh,
charismatic as
she's
ever.
magnetic. She's magnetic
She
personality.
is a magnetic personality, absolutely. She speaks so well that you just want to keep hearing. Thank you
Sure.
for having her also. Thank you.
Thank you, Geeta ji. Thank you very much. And I don't really know how many times to thank PLG for getting all of us together and getting me here, getting me to wherever I am today. Thank you so much. Moving forward, a poet, a literature, be it in any language, be it Hindi, be it Urdu, be it English itself, A literature or a poet is known to look at the world in ways that no one else can. And that is another reason why they are never credited in their lifetimes, including Byron, including towering figures like Keats or Wordsworth, never credited while they lived. But after they die, well, the rest of it is history, as they say. A result of this non-recognition, or even more so, a dearth of people or minds with whom they can share how they look at the world, leads to one feeling that has been described in more than 1,000 ways in literature over time. The word we call loneliness, the word poets call solitude. Byron, when he wrote the piece titled Solitude, has written a couple of lines in it which truly echo how he looked at the world. He says, in definition of the feeling, the sentiment of solitude, to sit on rocks, to muse over flood and fell, even a flood or a fallen tree or any kind of season, is of great amusement, of great interest to a person who has no one to share. To sit on rocks, to muse over flood and fell, to slowly trace the forest's shady scene, where things that own not man's dominion dwell, which means there's no human around. In the midst of the crowd, the hurry, the shock of men, to hear, to see, to feel, and to possess and roam alone as the world's tired denizen. This is by far my favorite part of the short poem. You're in the middle of a crowd, and yet you're alone. Why? Because your mind is something no one around you comprehends. And your mind cannot be conformed or confined only to the physical dimensions of your head. It has to go around. It's human tendency to share, and yet irony says you have no one to share. To roam alone as the world's tired denizen. This is to be alone. This is solitude. Hardly anyone ever would have a more beautiful, or for want of a better word, a more painstaking description of what it means to be lonely. And surprisingly, all these years later, in a world where connections are shallow, we have numerous mediums of communication, starting from emails to video calls to voice calls to WhatsApp messages to whatnot. And yet, do we have real deep connections? We'll find 1 in 1,000. In a world that craves connection, but is too, for a colloquial word, lazy to put in the effort and the time that it requires to get a person to get near to you. This definition of solitude is all the more relevant. Moving forward, may I invite Sammeera ji from India to present our next piece. Do we have Sammeera ji here?
Yeah, she is there. She's there.
Hello, good evening to everyone.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Before I start program, I would like to thank all of you, and especially thanks to Tufal Bhai and Simi ji for making me a part of this group. And also, I am very much thankful to our host, Jayati ji, for conducting such a beautiful program.
Most welcome, most welcome.
We all are thankful to her.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir. Today I am going to present poem Stanzas for Music by Lord Byron. I'd like to sing this poem.
Please.
There be none of beauty's daughters. There be none of beauty's daughters with a magic like thee, and like music on the waters, in the sweet voice to me. When as its sound were causing the charms, oceans pausing, the way lies still and glamming, and the winds in dreaming. There be none of beauty's daughters with a magic like thee, and like music on the waters in the sweet voice to me. And the midnight moon is waving her bright chain o'er the day, whose breath is gently having as an infant's sleep. So the Spirit rose before thee to listen and adore thee with a full but soft emotion, like the swell of summer's ocean. Then we know of beauty's daughters with a magic like thee, and like music on the waters in the sweet voice to me. Thank you. Thank you
Really
so much.
beautiful, Samira.
Wow,
Yeah.
super. Oh my God, it was amazing.
Thank you so much.
I just want to say that the next time I will be reading this poem, probably your voice will be at the back of my mind. It's so beautiful, no
I
doubt.
tried my best. If I have committed
You have.
any mistake, so I
No,
am
no, 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 not at all.
sorry.
We all enjoyed very well. It was such a
Super,
beautiful.
super, excellent.
And
Thank
you
you so
know,
much.
rendering a poem is bit difficult. That also 18th century poem, but you sung it so well, so naturally. The
Thank
feel
you.
of the words, the feel of words get even more vocalized when you put it into a song. That's
Thank
beautiful.
you so much. Thank you.
Titanic song style. The heart will go on.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mars.
Thank you very much, Samira ji, for a mellifluous and a melodious rendition of this
Thank you,
poem. Thank you so
Devin.
very much.
Thank you so much.
Moving
It's my
forward,
first time program in English poem.
we appreciate you, and I don't think we can appreciate you enough for coming up with this. Thank you, and we hope to see you many, many
Thank
more times.
Thank you.
Moving forward, we look at Lord Byron's multifaceted personality. He was the embodiment of a particular art which in today's world is steadily vanishing, is at the verge of extinction, rather. Letter writing. Byron's letters are known to be conversational, witty, relaxed, and yet satiricals. You keep reading a normal, genuine letter, and you wouldn't even know when he writes a line that hits you in the face. That was Byron. At one hand, he was the superb letter writer, witty, relaxed, satirical, as I just said. On the other hand, he was an advocate of the rights of people, seeing what common people, or rather the aristocrats of the time, would overlook very, very easily. One of the most known exponents of women in literature are the Bront sisters, Emily Bront and Anne Bront. And I'm really sorry for not remembering the name of the third sister. They created masterpieces like Emma and Jane Eyre, which showed women in a totally unconventional way, something that society couldn't accept at the time. Surprisingly enough, the Bront sisters' character of Rochester in one of the most famous novels was inspired by Lord Byron's eponymous Byronic hero. This Rochester is a man, not going deep into the character, but Rochester is a man who asks for forgiveness from his wife and who repents for a sin he committed long, long ago. And what was the sin? That of abandoning his wife. Abandoning his wife helpless destitute, poor, broken. To remember and to emphasize, this was a time when if a woman was not following her husband's orders, he comes into the room, he gives her a random order, and she does not follow it. That husband could easily, with no questions asked, commit her to a lunatic asylum, and no one was going to question him. At this point of time, Byron showed the courage and the grit to create a hero who valued his wife, and another hero who apologized and repented for abandoning his wife. Respect for women is something Byron embodied in his works, and as I just said, went on to inspire what we know today as the Bronte sisters, a truly distinctive gold embodied name in literature, in terms of women in literature. This was Lord Byron. Not fearful to expose society's flaws, and not fearful, not hesitant to accept his own idol. Moving forward, maybe invite Tasneem ji from the United States of America.
Please unmute yourself now. Okay, that's okay.
Thank you, Jayati. You are doing an awesome job. And by the way, the third sister is Charlotte. Charlotte and,
So sorry.
and that's the one who wrote Jane Eyre, right? Yeah. So,
Right.
Thank you, Simiji and Tufel Bhai. As always, it's a pleasure to come. But this is by far one of my favorite poets, and so I'm so excited today, and especially hearing some of the things that I already knew about him, but some of the things Jayati shared today, I had not heard about. So I'm very, very happy that I'm here and I'm listening to all of you.
Most welcome, Tasneem ji.
And great, great presenters. My favorite poem, She Walks in Beauty, was already taken. So this poem that I'm going to read is called I Would I Were a Careless Child. I think he wrote it in much later years in his life. And that's why he resonates very well with someone my age. This poem is one of his brilliant works. And as we grow older and reach that age of wisdom, where hollow relationships and social obligations don't matter anymore, he describes it so well in this poem, and he expresses a longing for freedom, basically being independent, like being by himself, right? Freedom, nature, and he repents lost youth. And there is a yearning for simple joys of life and good, authentic relationships. So, when we surround ourselves with noise, as opposed to we surround ourselves with meaningful relationship. So, without further ado, I'll read I Would I Were a Careless Child. I would I were a careless child, still dwelling in my highland cave, or roaming through the dusty wild, or bounding over the dark blue wave. The cumbrous pomp of Saxon pride accords not with the free-born soul, which loves the mountain's craggy side and seeks the rocks where billows roll. Fortune, take back these cultured lands. Take back this name of splendid sound. I hate the touch of servile hands. I hate the slaves that cringe around. Place me among the rocks I love, which sound to ocean's wildest roar. I ask but this, again to rove through scenes my youth had known before. Few are my years, and yet I feel the world was never designed for me. Ah, why do darkening shades conceal the hour when man must cease to be? Once I beheld a splendid dream, a visionary scene of bliss. Truth, wherefore did thy hated beam awake me to a world like this? I loved, but those I loved are gone. Had friends, my early friends are fled. How cheerless feels the heart alone when all its former hopes are dead. Had friends, my early friends are fled. How cheerless feels the heart alone when all its former hopes are dead. Though gay companions over the bowl dispel a while the sense of ill, though pleasures stir the maddening soul, the heart, the heart is lonely still. How dull to hear the voice of those whom rank or chance, whom wealth or power have made, though neither friends nor foes, associate of the festive hour. Give me again a faithful few in ears and feeling still the same, and I'll fly the midnight crew where boisterous joy is but a name. And woman, lovely woman thou, my hope, my comforter, my all, how cold must be my bosom now when even thy smiles begin to pall. Without a sigh, I would resign this busy scene of splendid woe to make that calm contentment mine which virtue knows or seems to know. Fain would I fly the haunts of men I seek to shun, not hate mankind. This is my favorite line. Fain would I fly the haunts of men I seek to shun, not hate mankind. My breast requires the sullen glen whose gloom may suit a darkened mind. Oh, that to me the wings were given, which bear the turtle to her nest, then would I cleave the vault of heaven to flee away and be at rest. To flee away and be at rest. Thank you.
Very good, Tasneem ji. Had you not shared that you loved Lord Byron was a favorite to you, the way you rendered the poem, we could make out that you were enjoying each and every word. And whenever you come to the screen, you just make it alive, be it Urdu, be it Hindi, or be it English. But
Thank you
only
so.
the way you rendered the poem was so beautiful that you were living each word, and your love was being reflected by each word. So that it was a real illumination, and it was very nice.
The
Thank you.
credit goes to the
Beautiful,
poet.
beautiful.
He wrote it very beautifully. So thank you
But
so
then also,
much. Appreciate it.
but then also, half of the credit goes to you also to make it alive.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Tasneemji, for this presentation. We're truly grateful, happy, and lucky to have witnessed this. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Jay.
The line
Thank you,
that
Jayati. You're
Tasneemji
doing an
said.
amazing job.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you. The line that Tasneemji said was her favorite. Fain would I fly the haunts of men, I seek to shun, not hate mankind. It very clearly echoes the same sentiment he showed in the poem Solitude. He wants not to flee, but to find, if possible, someone who would echo the way he looks at the world. But somewhere deep within, as do great minds of their times accept, it isn't really possible. And that's exactly why they are great minds, because they think ahead of the time they live in. Both these poems show a resignation of not being found or not being recognized for what they really are. Earlier, when I was mentioning Byron's interpretation of the hero who respects everyone around him, be it the women, be it the people below him in social ranking, I missed mentioning two more heroes who are popular till date, who were inspired from Byron's interpretation of man. Heathcliff from Wuthering Heights by Emily Bront, again one of the Bront sisters, and Edmond Dantes from The Count of Monte Cristo, which is another epic piece by Alexandre Dumas. For all of those who have not read these two pieces, please do, because honestly, English literature at some point is absolutely incomplete without these two masterpieces. Byron, as we already talked of his multifaceted personality, was a person of many-sided nature that was congenial to each of his friends. He was friends with some of the hugest names of his times: Hobhouse, Edelston. To some of them, he was a humorous, cynical companion. To some, he was the tender, melancholy, idealistic man who looked at people right through their hearts. Going further, an anecdote from his life is quite intriguing. Many of us today admire science fiction, and my generation is very much included in that as well, because science fiction has gone to a range where it encompasses every moment of our lives. And one of the first pieces that showed science fiction as a field that could exist, as they say, every invention was at some time a joke. So science fiction, which is a household term today, was at some point a joke. And the piece that made it come to every house was Mary Shelley's Frankenstein. Amazingly, Mary Shelley conceived the idea of Frankenstein in the middle of a ghost story competition. The ghost story competition was held on the banks of Lake Geneva, and the competitors were Mary Shelley herself, Percy Shelley, John Polidori, another huge name of the time, and Lord Byron himself. So there you know what Byron was, what circles he frequented, and where he was a person who didn't just imagine himself, but could get people to think so far ahead. It's surprising to me as well, because I have read many of these pieces, all thanks to my parents, my family, under the inspiration of PLG. Most of these pieces that I've mentioned, I've read all of them. But reading through Byron's life for this very program, I realized they're all connected. And here goes the person, Byron. He inspired people to such a great extent. Moving forward, may I now invite Aarti ji from Suriname to give us the next presentation.
Yes. Thank you, Jayati, for this beautiful introduction. The poem about Mushaira was written by Lord Byron in 1808. It was inspired by a real human skull found by a gardener, which Byron subsequently had polished and mounted as a silver-rimmed drinking chalice. In these lines, Byron gives a voice to the vessel, reminding us that while life is fleeting, there is a dark sort of joy to be found in the legacy we leave behind. Here is lines inscribed upon a cup formed from a skull. Start not, nor deem my spirit fled. In me behold the only skull, from which unlike a living head, whatever flows is never dull. I lived, I loved, I quaffed like tea. I die, let earth my bones resign. Fill up, thou canst not injure me. The worm had fuller lips than thine. Better to hold the sparkling grape than nurse the earthworm's slimy brood, and circle in the goblet shape the drink of gods than reptiles' food. Where once my wit perchance had shone, in aid of others let me shine. And when, alas, our brains are gone, what nobler substitute than wine? Thank you.
That was a really nice way of rendering
Very
poem.
nice. Beautiful.
Slow, and it was just like it had the flow, and you rendered it very well. Thank you, Aarti.
Thank you.
Very nice.
Thank you very much, Aarti ji, for this presentation. And much as we do, we must credit Byron for putting things forward in ways no one could imagine. Lines inscribed on a cup formed from a skull. The name does feel haunting. And yet, when Byron presents it, his interpretation of it, you can't help but falling in love with every piece. That is Lord Byron for you and for all of us. Lord Byron was a person whose characters held a prototypical trait, that is of the traveler or the wanderer. A mind that is always on the lookout for something better, something more beautiful. Because deep within, the mind knows that the Almighty's creation, this nature that Byron loved, does not end at any point. You behold beauty, as they say, beauty lies in the eyes of the beholder. If you know how to behold beauty, the nature will never disappoint you. And so, one of Byron's masterpieces, Childe Harold's Pilgrimage, in which he writes that the wanderer, or the main character, roams disenchanted, I quote, He roams disenchanted, circulates the earth in passionate torment. The hero looks for a home. Home here does not mean a physical home for the hero to come back to, but somewhere he could find salvation, redemption. Because heroes as such, or rather introspective people as such, which encompasses poets and people of literature, they look inwards also in a very different way than others do. What may seem very normal to us, maybe let's just say a poet has committed something that seems normal to us, but for the poet, it's something hugely disastrous. Byron showed that to us in his search for a home of salvation and redemption, where he could confess without being judged, only being listened to. And don't you somewhere feel it echoes a sentiment that we face in everyday life? There would have been multiple times in your life you would have wanted someone to just sit and listen. Someone you could tell that I don't want reactions. I just want you to sit and listen. I want you to turn an ear to me. Because this is something someone once told me, and someone surprisingly my age, one of my friends, but it has stuck to me. She told me, and it echoes what Byron somewhere wanted to say, and that's why I'm mentioning it. She told me that your mind is something like a box. If you have an X thing and a Y thing, and the box is full with the X thing, can you ever put the Y thing into it? I said, no, I can't. And surprisingly, this girl told me, Jayati, listen, your mind is the box, X is your problem, Y is your solution. Get the first one out, you'll have place for the second one. And as you would expect, I stared at her for 5 minutes straight because I couldn't believe she was my age. Reading through Byron and especially this sentiment, I confess I remember that friend so very much. And sadly, it's been a lot of years since I've met her. I would want to again. Moving forward, may I invite Urmila Agarwal ji from India for the next presentation, please.
Good evening. Good evening to Fel sir, Anupam sir, and Simiji, and all the participants of PLG and all the members of PLG. And my special thanks for Simiji for giving me opportunity to
Most welcome,
recite
Urmila
my
ji.
poem,
Most welcome. Most welcome.
recite my poem in PLG. And Jyoti is also very good anchoring. She is now going very good anchoring in PLG. And today my poem is It is the Hour. This poem is written by Lord Byron. And now I told my poem, It is the hour. It is the hour when from the boughs, it the nightingale's high note is heard. It is the hour when lovers' vows seem sweet in every whispered word, and gentle what winds and waters near make music to the lonely ear. Each flowers the dews have lightly wet, and in the sky the stars are met, and on the wave is deeper blue, and on the leaf a browner hue, and in the heaven the clear obscure, so softly dark and darkly pure, that follows the decline of day, as twilight melts beneath the moon away. As twilight melts beneath the moon away. Thank you, sir. Thank you, all of you,
Very
for
nice,
giving.
very
We
nice,
should be
Urmila ji.
thanking
Very
you,
nice.
Urmila ji. We should
Thank
be
you.
thanking you for rendering this poem and lighting the whole stage. It's very good.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Jyoti, you are mute.
Thank you very much, Urmila ji. Thank you very much for the presentation. As we move forward, we look at Lord Byron, who exposed, or not rather exposed, who explored, for a better word, Themes of isolation, introspection, social unrest, human minds, thoughts, processes, and consequences of actions in ways that have not been comparable for a long time till date. One of the hugest pieces he wrote, alongside pieces like Childe Harold's Pilgrimage, was Manfred. It is considered a masterpiece of romantic literature, and Byron has used sublime Gothic elements in a truly masterful way. He has used images like the mountain to compare with man's guilt and grief, man's search for redemption, man's isolation in the middle of a crowd, man's want to get over obstacles, but a desolate helplessness as to how to do it. In the quest for redemption, he explores physical and emotional barriers. In fact, when you think of it, Byron has used a castle mirror for his own emotions, tumult, disturbance, being upset. He has encompassed everything inside a castle mirror. Not going very deep into the description because rather it would take time, or it is difficult to explain Byron's interpretation of the castle mirror in a time constraint. I would request all of you to please read this piece called Manfred, because that will tell you, or rather give you a glimpse. I wouldn't tell you it'll give you a whole glimpse of his personality, but it'll give you a small piece of what a beautiful, what an eponymous man this Lord Byron was. Not taking much time, we move ahead to the next participant. Our next participant is Meenakshi ji from Canada. May we have you on the stage?
Thank you, Jayati ji, for hosting such a beautiful program. We got to learn so much about Lord Byron. And thank you, Simi ji, for inviting me to recite,
Most
giving me the
welcome,
opportunity.
Meenakshi ji, most welcome. Nice to see you after a long time.
Oh, thank you, thank you. I'm just going to start with my poem because it is quite long, so I don't want to waste a lot of time. But my poem today is called Darkness, and it was written in 1816, on the theme of destruction of the world. So, I had a dream which was not all a dream. The bright sun was extinguished, and the stars did wander in the eternal space. Rayless and pathless, and the icy earth swung blind and blackening in the moonless air. Morn came and went, and came and brought no day. And men forgot their passions in the dread of this their desolation, and all hearts were chilled into a selfish prayer for light. And they did live by watchfires and the thrones, the palaces of crowned kings and the huts, the habitations of all things which dwell, were burnt for beacons, cities were consumed, and men were gathered round their blazing homes to look once more into each other's face. Happy were those who dwelt within the eye of the volcanoes and their mountain torch. A fearful hope was all the world contained. Forests were set on fire, but hour by hour they fell and faded, and the crackling trunks extinguished with a crash, and all was black. The brows of men by the despairing light wore an unearthly aspect, as by fits. The flashes fell upon them, some lay down and hid their eyes and wept, and some did rest. Their chins upon their clenched hands and smiled, and others hurried to and fro and fed. Their funerals piles with fuel and looked up with mad disquietude on the dull sky, the pole of a past world, and then again, with curses, cast them down upon the dust, and gnashed their teeth and howled the wild birds shrieked. And terrified did flutter on the ground, and flop their useless wings in the wildest brutes. Came tame and tremulous, and vipers crowed, and twined themselves among the multitude. Hissing but stingless, they were slain for food, and war, which was for a moment, was no more. Did glut himself again, a meal was bought, with blood and each sate sullenly apart, gorging himself in bloom, no love was felt. All earth was but one thought, and that was death. Mediate and inglorious, and the pang of famine fed upon entrails men. Died, and their bones were tombless as their flesh. The meager by the meager were
Hello?
the
Anji. Hello?
even dogs assailed their masters, all save one, and he was faithful to a course and kept the birds and beasts and famished men at bay, till hunger clung them, or the dropping dead lured their lank jaws, himself sought out no food, but with the piteous and perpetual moan and a quick desolate cry, licking the hand, which answered not with the caress, he died. The crowd was famished by degrees, but two of an enormous city did survive. And they were enemies they met beside the dying embers of an altar place, when had been heaped a mass of holy things. For an unholy usage they raked up, and shivering scraped with their cold skeleton hands the feeble ashes, and their feeble breath blew for a little life and made a flame, which was a mockery. Then they lifted up their eyes as it grew lighter and beheld each other's aspects, saw and shrieked and died. Even of their mutual hideousness, they died unknowingly who he was upon whose brow. Famine had written fiend, the world was void, the populous and the powerful was a lump, seasonless, herbless, treeless, manless, lifeless, a lump of death, a chaos of hard clay. The rivers, lakes, and ocean all stood still, and nothing stirred within silent depths. Ships, sailorless, lay rotting on the sea, and their masts fell down, piecemeal as they dropped. They slept on the abyss without a surge. The waves were dead. The tides were in their grave. The moon, their mistress, had expired before. The winds were withered in the stagnant air, and the clouds perished. Darkness had no need of aid from them. She was the universe. She was the universe. Thank you so much for listening to me.
Very nice. Meenakshi, this was
Very nice, very nice.
the poem, no doubt, is a very graphic and a bit longish, because at that time long poems were the call of the day. But only thing is that Byron never wasted any words, and every word had some depth, some meaning, and every line was connected. You cannot leave any line and read. It was a very nice read, no doubt, and we enjoyed it a lot.
Thank you so much.
But I would like to say that till now we have been an encyclopedia was placed in front of us, and one by one very interesting informations were unfolded to us, but no doubt by our Jyoti, and she was rendering it so well. So, one part of Jyoti was unfolded to us, her knowledge about Byron. But only thing is that there is some lurking keenness in me to listen to her rendering a poem by Byron, because I think so throughout the week she has been living Byron a lot. So I think so the best piece she is holding next to her heart. Jyoti, please come and just we want to listen to you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. I am here today to present to you in my capacity as anchor, which is very much bestowed upon me by the likes of Simia ji and Tufel ji, a piece that is indeed close to my heart, and for a variety of reasons. It is one of the pieces I have quoted during the course of the program. The one titled Solitude. And surprisingly, not to me, but to everyone else maybe, Solitude was the poem I was describing with the most intensity, because it is truly by far my favorite, maybe an unpopular opinion.
And
But
it is
the
not,
way Byron
it is not
describes,
a surprise, Jayati, that I wanted to hear that particular poem, because some words which had come, so it gave me an idea that you should be rendering the whole poem.
thank you, sir. Thank you very much. It's not at all something surprising or something new that you actually understood what I was going to do. Thank you very much for that. So yes, Solitude. Uh, as I take the opportunity now to recite this, I really feel it is necessary to explain at some point, for in a brief few lines, why this is so important. The feeling of loneliness, the feeling of not having someone close to you, not having human presence, the feeling of not being able to share is something that everyone, really everyone, has experienced at some point in their lives. And yet, is it really easy to describe? It's not. You could be in a crowd and still alone. You could be a nature lover in the middle of a forest, and yet you could still be alone. Solitude, or in more painstaking forms, loneliness, is that one feeling you could never describe enough. And surprisingly, the other feeling that you really cannot describe enough, even though it has been done for centuries, is love. So, love and solitude, they go hand in hand. They also complement each other, but at some point, they also turn the enemies of each other. That is the beauty that is brought out in literature in almost every language. And that again is why literature strives through revolutions, wars, upheavals of our entire world. Have there been less wars or less upheavals ever since Byron wrote Solitude? No. Yet here we are, still reminiscing, still reciting, not taking much time. Here goes Solitude. To sit on rocks, to muse o'er flood and fell, to slowly trace the forest's shady scene, to sit on rocks, to muse o'er flood and fell, to slowly trace the forest's shady scene, where things that own not man's dominion dwell. As I said earlier, this means a place where there's no human habitation. And mortal foot hath ne'er over really been. Mortal foot, human footprints. To climb the trackless mountain all unseen. This reminds me of 10th grade, where my then favorite, and still favorite, but then more favorite poem used to be Robert Frost's Road Not Taken. It echoes the same sentiment. To climb the trackless mountain all unseen, with the wild flock that never needs a fold. Alone, alone over steeps. It's such an underrated, underestimated word, alone. Alone over steeps and foaming falls to lean. This is not solitude. 'Tis but to hold converse with nature's charms. That's a poet at heart, that's a wanderer at heart, who never finds himself alone in nature's lap. Conversing with nature, he is not alone. Nature herself is his friend. This is not solitude. 'Tis but to hold converse with nature's charms and view her stores unrolled. This is what I meant when I said that nature has bounty in plenty. You go exploring, she will never disappoint. But midst the crowd, the hurry, the shock of men, to hear, to see, to feel, and to possess. To hear, to see, to feel, and to possess, and roam alone the world's tired denizen. My favorite line, to roam alone the world's tired denizen. With none who bless us, none whom we can bless. It's surprising how the feeling is echoed so often. I really think it was nothing else that Thomas Hardy meant years later when he wrote Far from the Madding Crowd. Isn't this the same thing he meant? A man searching for salvation, not by others, but by his own soul. This is what it was, running away from the crowd that judges but never really understands, that hears but never listens. With none who bless us, none whom we can bless. Minions of splendor shrinking from distress. Here goes again Byron the rebel. Byron who never feared authority, rather always wanted it removed from society. Minions of splendor shrinking from distress. None that with kindred consciousness endued. If we were not, would seem to smile the less of all the flattered, followed, sought, and sued, clearly showing Byron's interpretation, Byron's view of aristocracy at the time, or aristocracy at any point in history. The flattered, the followed, the sought, and the sued, who lack kindred consciousness. They say man does not need to be taught to love, man has to be taught to hate. And surprisingly, Byron was pained of the fact that man has been taught to hate more than love. None that with kindred consciousness endued, if we were not, would seem to smile the less of all the flattered, followed, sought, and sued. This is to be alone. A bugle cry to the world. This is to be alone. This is solitude. This is solitude. This is solitude. Thank you very much.
Beautiful, beautiful, no doubt. Whatever I thought.
Presentation, very nice, very nice.
And in rendering the poem, you never forgot that you are an anchor also. So you enmeshed the meaning also, and you linked it with other poets also. That is your creativity. No doubt it brought about it enlightened the whole the poem itself. Very good, Jyoti.
As we come here, with a heavy heart, there comes a time when Byron, who used the word adieu, has to be brought back into the scene with that same poem, Adieu to the Native Shore. Here we are at a crossroad where we have to bid adieu to one of our native shores. PLG, as I mentioned earlier, and as I will always say, continue to say, is one of the many families you can have. It's one of the closest things you can have to a family outside of home. So, when Byron said, bid adieu to the native shore, I use that again to bid adieu to yet another one of PLG's beautiful gatherings. Beautiful is just a very inadequate word to use for PLG. But then again, my vocabulary wouldn't suffice if I really wanted to describe what feeling this is. Thank you, PLG, for helping us celebrate this icon. So, here's to new beginnings, because every end constitutes a new beginning. And if it doesn't, it really isn't a worthwhile ending. So here's to new beautiful beginnings. Here's to Byron, who was a friend, an inspiration, a rebel, an advocate, a thinker, an introspector like none other, a poet, a child, an angel, a divine wanderer, a soul, a pained soul who yearned for salvation, who yearned for someone who would understand, who yearned for somewhere he could pour his heart out. And yet, he never let that longing, the yearning, encompass or engulf what he did. He was that ocean of love that swallows all the silt and all the mud that goes into it, and yet flows with all the power it has, all the might it has, meanders, shows the world what it is to jump past rocks and yet encompass everything. Because then again, is there a difference between the flow of water in a river and a lake? There isn't. A lake is smaller. Doesn't matter, because Byron lived a short life, and yet he created what many before him and many after him could not create, and no doubt would never be able to recreate even in the future. So, here's to the grand personality, the grand poet, the magnificent literature, the benevolent human being, and to the time transcending enigma. I use the word very consciously, the enigma that was George Gordon Byron. Thank you very much. Passing the baton to Samiji.
Beautiful, beautifully closed. Closed it very
Thank you,
beautifully.
sir. Thank you. I'm so sorry, may I pass over the baton to Anupamji for the unveiling of the magazine?
Before you pass on to I think so. I would start thanking PLG for creating such a beautiful paid platform. And as you said, this is a beginning. I would take you in a different perspective. That yes, this is a new beginning, because we are at the threshold of another century, start of a century, after completing 300 episode. This is the 301st episode. And at the very start, I would like to thank Semiji for that. The way she stitched the whole program, the structure of the program, and what beautiful thinking it is to enmesh children's, that is nursery of PLG, and the product of that nursery as an anchor in you. So it was such beautiful, and the way you unfolded and the way the love you showed towards the anchoring, and the way you, and it was such an encyclopedia, and it was, and nobody can say that you were lecturing, you were sharing. The way you were sharing love for your literature, and the objective of PLG was came alive when you were anchoring. So to honor that, I have a request to make to you, Jayati, that I can't say the whole, but a précis, and I want to include it in the magazine, that précis, that what George Gordon Bryan meant to you, and what this the 1 week of journey of the Bryan was meant to you, how he touched you, and what are the his aspects which touched you. Because I want to honor your commitment and your the way you presented this program by including your words in the magazine, that what Byron meant to you. And because I think so, that is the best way to celebrate a celebrity.
Sure, sir.
So,
Thank you very much. It's an
with
honor and an order to me. Thank you.
It is not an order, it is a request. I can't order you because you are much beyond your age, what we see. We see a very small Jyoti in front of us, but when you start speaking, you are much beyond us, because the knowledge we get from you is the effort you make, and that is there. You know, the age of Shankaracharya was just 4 years, but world listened to him. So you are a small packet with a big knowledge. So it is a request to you.
Thank
So
you, sir. Thank you very much.
with these words, I would like to connect you with a century we lived, and the at the peak of the century, that is when it was a celebration of another kind. It was a celebration of achieving a milestone of 300 episode, which in no terms is a small achievement. No doubt it was a very small seed and very altruistic of Simiji and Tafalji to think that people who are enclosed in their homes, they should be brought together, so that hearing voices in tough times, people connected, and they get that particular energy to live on, because at that time death was lurking in every eye. So, and you say, and it is said that when you think the best, you get the best. So they showered the love, and shower multiplied. And look, we are looking towards another century, that is 400th century. And it is this particular step, 301. One was that particular step which started the whole thing, and we are at 301. So thank you, PLG, and thank you, thank you, Simiji, and thank you. And at the end of every program, you thank you. At this stage, I'm thanking you for providing us a platform that now, at this particular stage, we look forward for every Saturday, so that, and the connection goes on, and the love for that connecting people with, and your objective of connecting people with literature is blooming such a lot. Thank you for that. With these words, I would like to connect. This is a very unique feature of this particular program, that we don't forget the step which we have taken. So, with this, I would like to present the magazine, the connection point of this unending series of the PLG, because music also is there when you connect things. I think, Jyoti, you are able to see the magazine on the screen.
Yes, sir, we can.
I would like to beautify it more. It should appear. Now this is a I will call it a celebration, a milestone achieved. 300th magazine for the 300th episode, which was, and you can see a beautiful horse, and horse because PLG gallops every week. It gallops as our heart gallops whenever we meet each other, and it has got a very small wings of our imagination, wings of our linking, wings which takes us to the every aspect of literature. So, and this beautiful poem, this beautiful poetic art has been made by our Dr. Shalini Gupta Kumar, and you can see her imagination as she is enmeshing in this particular uh, in this artwork. So, and another beautiful aspect is a media report. And a media report is the real link between this current program and the last program, where it encases the whatever the media reporter feels about, whatever a listener feels about the program and the poems which were read. So, since it was a celebration, everybody expressed their joy in their poem, and it has been beautifully captured by our media manager Vijay Kumar Jain. And at the same time, there is one person who is a pillar or a rock of PLG, I can say, that is Kapilji, who who appears on the stage very few times, but every program it goes through his very keen eyes. So Kapilji has edited this particular media report, so it becomes the best presentation which you can enjoy. And in this particular look, I think that literature can be heard, it can be read, and it can be, we have to repeatedly go and listen to it to enjoy it. So whatever poems which were read in that particular program, it is here, and it has been duly seen and edited by none other than our Simiji, who carefully read each and every word so that it should come out and the beauty of the poem should be enhanced. So all the poems which were read is in this for you to enjoy the words as such and to have the feel of that particular words. And this particular program was it had two guests. One is Annada Patni and Rama Takshak from USA and Netherlands, who also gave gift of their expression to us, because they are a very big name in poetry. So they shared their gift with us, and that is also included in this particular program. And this particular program, it was conducted by our Satish ji, and the way he stitched the whole thing, it was a celebration itself. Hearing him is an opportunity we never want to miss. And at the same time, a feature has been included in this particular magazine that whosoever stays in the full time, we respect him, because they are the true people who are connected with the literature. That you have read your poem, still you are there to give to motivate the last speaker of the program. So, and this particular magazine, as I said, that it is a product, it is a joint product, and no doubt Simiji leads the whole team, and Kapilji is there to edit the every magazine, and Vijay Kumarji, he wrote this media report, and Shalini's photo is there because she is the artist of the week. And at the same time, every week, as a thank you to Simiji and Tufailji, we include this page showing our gratitude of the this stage which they have given provided us to for us to express. And at the same time, not only him, there is a team which works for the betterment of PLG and for the betterment of expression, and the names of those office bearers are there. And at the same time, since PLG is a school, so we have a timetable, and next week probably you will be getting a new timetable for the whole year. What are the activities which you will be doing, or what are the so that you can connect with that particular program, and just have your expression. And this is the last reminder, the poster which was which that particular program had, and the people who have participated. And in this, I have included 300 because we are not satisfied with 300. So that's why I included this vertical words and many more. And this is the first step, and we have taken along with Jayati. This is the first step for the new century, and this particular magazine I dedicate to Semiji only, to make it public so that everybody can enjoy it. Semiji, now the stage is yours.
Thank you so very much. Thank you so very much, Anupam ji, for beautiful magazine. Heartfelt appreciation to our chief editor for the vision, dedication, and meticulous effort behind creating this magazine. Their leadership and editorial excellence have truly brought this publication to life. Thank you so very much, Anupam ji. I am dedicating this magazine to all our participants. It's very beautiful. Thank you so very much.
Now with this, conclusion has to be made. And I think so, by thanking us, your duty now starts. So Simiji, please come on the stage.
Thank you
And
so very much. Thank you so very much, Anupam ji.
for concluding this particular program, so that, and it is a beautiful program. I don't say conclude the program, but it is a pause, and we will meet again next Saturday. So please, ma'am, stage is yours.
Thank you so very much. Good evening, namaskar, good morning, adab. Today's CTL session PLG 301 on George Gordon Byron was a truly enriching literary experience. CTL programs give us a beautiful opportunity to revisit legendary poets and immerse ourselves in their timeless creations. In CTL, we do not pay present to our own poems. Instead, we pay tribute by reading the understanding the works of great literary icons. Through this process, participants learn about the poet's life, thoughts, and literary contributions. Enhances our literary awareness and deepens our respect for world literature. By reading Byron's poems, we offered our heartfelt homage and enriched our collective knowledge. Our anchor of today's program, Miss Jati Chaudhary, is extremely talented and experienced. She has successfully anchored many programs and has an excellent command over Hindi, Bangla, and English. In today's session, her presentation on Byron was informative, engaging, and beautifully articulated. Her confident hosting, clarity of expressions, and warm presence energized the entire program. She truly brought life to the session and kept the audience deeply connected throughout. Many thanks you, Miss Jati, for your outstanding anchoring. You truly left us speechless today with your powerful and full anchoring. Thank you so very much, and God bless you. Today's CTL program became truly special with the wonderful participation of poets and presenters from 11 different countries, beautifully reflecting the global spirit of PLG Poetry and Literary Group International. We extend our heartfelt thanks to Meenakshi ji, तस्नीम लोखंडवाला जी, गीता सेठ जी, उर्मिला अग्रवाल जी, आरती गणेश जी, समीरा निगार जी, मिस निष्का शर्मा, मिस सन्निधि, मिस आलोकिता, मास्टर नुमेर, मास्टर नवैद्या, and Master Aradhya Singh Barrett, and Miss Jati for their graceful and meaningful presentation. It was especially heartwarming to see the three participants joining CTL for the first time. And the presence of young children added joy, freshness, and hope to the session. Each presentation was unique, soulful, and thoughtfully delivered. Through your beautiful rendition, you all offered a heartfelt tribute to the legendary poets George Gordon Byron. Your efforts, expression, and dedication made CTL session memorable and enriching. Thank you to each and every participant for your wonderful contribution and the honoring a literary legendary through your art. Thank you so much. This reflects your love for literature. Thank you so very much, each and every participants. Many thanks to all viewers who join us every week on YouTube and encourage us. Your comments boost our morale and inspire us greatly. Thank you, Vijayji, for commenting. And thank you so very much. I would like to thank our global president and founder Tufailji. I would like to thank GVP Satishji and Anupamji. I would like to thank social media head and advisor Kapil Patraji. I would like to thank chief editor Anupam Pathakji and art design editor Dr. Shalini. I would like to thank IT head Munawwarji. I would like to thank all media managers Gopalji, Sheripanoji, Anjaliji, Vijayji, Purnimaji, and Anupamji. I would like to thank Amir and Arif Tufel for video and poster. I would like to thank Zoebji for CTL cover page. I would like to thank all regional president, Mitaji, and all regional president. We will meet next year in 2026 at the New Year program with renewed enthusiasm and fresh energy. Until then, please grant us your leave. Good night, Sabah Khair, Shubh Ratri.